Agile project management is about being adaptive and being able to adapt to change. The technique is that you're building incremental pieces of the application, and you're reviewing those incremental pieces with your stakeholders and collecting feedback and getting that feedback into the development lifecycle as soon as possible so that you can actually collect more feedback and understand if you're on the right path.
Agile development is very beneficial to software development in general, but especially something like mobile device development.
The FDA supports it. There's an AMI standard around the Agile development process. It's all about how you incorporate it into your design control system.
There are a lot of unknowns, and those unknowns typically are not uncovered until you've actually gotten into the development life cycle. The Agile incremental process is very similar to some other models like waterfall model or V model. It's just that you're repeating it over and over and over again in smaller increments. So you're going through a phase where you're trying to define or understand requirements, what leads you into the design phase. And then from there, you're actually working on implementing the product and taking that into QA for testing and verification. And finally, deploying that so that you can actually get that tested and do end user or acceptance testing. And at the very end, you just cycle right back to the beginning and another increment.
That process is going to allow you to make those changes, and requirements and features that you thought were going to be important that were lower priority, you may learn, oh, we don't even need those.
Prioritization is a huge part of Agile, and it's a big part of the technique. We want to understand which features are high business value, and you understand which features are difficult to implement and easy to implement. It's uncomfortable for most customers because they're not forced to sit down and do that typically. But we find that if you spend the time to sit down and really understand what it is that you're trying to build and what the value is behind those items and prioritize them, then you have the most important things at the top of the list, and you can work on those things first, and increasing the return on investment for our customers.
And what allows us to provide our customers with a very responsive change to their request is that we break down our development into smaller sprints. They're called sprints. They're maybe 2 or 3 weeks long.
The idea is to be able to time box an iteration of development so that you can compare that effort to future efforts. If you understand how much a team can accomplish in a time box and you size features relatively, being able to size a feature relatively allows you to understand how many features that the team can actually accomplish. Then you can strike a trend line on a graph to understand how many sprints you would need to complete the number of features that you have in your backlog. And the backlog is just the bucket where you keep all of the feature requests and change requests.
It provides customers, especially small startup companies that have very low margin of error, it provides them a way to get a very high return on investment for every time spent on their project. So for example, we get customers that come to us all the time that have these crazy exotic ideas for their product. And they have a laundry list of things that they want to do. But in reality, half of those things are never going to be used by the client. So if we approached it the regular development way and just develop all of that without thinking, spec it out up front and do it, in the end, you're going to have a product where half of it is not being used. The goals of Agile development is to afford the customer the opportunity to change their mind, to adapt, to change the direction of their product as they learn more about their product.
The Agile development processes come from a software development process that allows development to occur in a way that is not so structured. And obviously in the medical device world, you need documents and design controls. So there has to be a blending of maybe what you call the old school way of development with a newer school of Agile development, and we bring that to the table.
It's challenging, right? Typically for me and for a lot of engineers, that's really what they're looking for. Most engineers want to become masters of their trade, and typically the only way to do that is to be challenged. And that's really what I get and my engineers and my teams get here at Sterling.